5 years ago.
And there it is, the last Stiggly Wiggly. Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here, and now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines. Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun.
Narrator dialogue cassette
The
tapes.
office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights. How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do. Now I've become sad. Look what you've done to me. This is all your fault.
Now I'm sad. Okay. Let's go back to the meeting room and...
Stanley, I'm sorry.
Oh, we're not
but I
done
have
here.
to put a pause on things. It's those figurines. Those figglers. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one.
The
Wasn't it
figglies.
just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone? I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
Now remembering when Stanley found the collectibles. Okay. The memory zone.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain?
Oh yeah, this was super creepy.
We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
Is the narrator gonna say anything about that? 7 out of 6?
And here was the second Stanlerine. You found this one all on your own just by poking around behind the boss's office. You did that, Stanley. I'll be honest, back then I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways. Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini Stan? Can you remember?
I think it was under the stairs.
Hey, that's exactly right. It was here, under the stairs. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything. Let's see, what came next? Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Oh well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened. This was the fifth mini Stan, and this one was really something special. It was in the boss's bathroom. I remember it so clearly.
There was writing on the wall here.
Because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
The transitions, it's like his first video. The camera wiggling and shifting. A stock photo. This is like when Facebook makes a video for you, then it makes it for everybody. Credits, narrator, best boy narrator, starring Stanley. Copyright narrator.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
Oh my god. Hold on. I'm marking this so I can send it to Noxie to be like, yeah, now we know how long video editing really takes. She gonna be like, "Ree."
And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here in the warehouse. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
But there was another one, because the pink room thing never happened.
And then there was no more. Because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, Memory Zone. No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on.
He's talking during the loading screen. He unloaded it.
We can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines. Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels. Okay, yes, this spot in the warehouse. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going, I want more. And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched?
You should make a video about how we watched a video.
Yes, I love that video.
Hi, Harvey. So, how you doing?
Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room. These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have neutered the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one. This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going. This is it, the very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the figurines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
And we never re-picked up the one at the red and blue doors. The jump circle?
Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then, but time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look how much fun the past is. I want more. More memories.
Have you ever seen the trailer for the new Owlcat Warhammer CRPG they're working on? Still, waiting on the last Pathfinder DLC, but I figure it'd be good to you. No, I have not seen that.
Oh, yes. The two doors! Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one. And before everything else, there was your office. Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office?
Title screen.
There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember.
Him asking me for the time?
Yes. I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy, and I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Now, do we think it's actually going to end after one
knew the
more?
office layout like the back of his hand. It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were. Just a matter of time.
I don't know what ending to go for, if this is the last one.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Maybe let's go to the museum. The one time I went to the museum, it was like before I had seen any of the other endings, so it was just a ton of spoilers.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What Dark Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk.
He's gonna play the music.
That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
I'm wondering if there's anything in the museum that I can spot that's like a storyline that I've missed.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture.
I owe
He
one of
doesn't
these.
know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly. And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Screens from the development of the boss's office. Office clock. The lounge. Underground.
Now look closely, Stanley. See how it's impossible for the player to do anything in this room? Perfect example of poor level design. Textbook mistake. Where were It's the kind of thing you pick up on intuitively if you had even the most fundamental...
Kevin Briding, the voice of the narrator, recorded dialogue for the entire game roughly 3 separate times over the 2 years of development. These are clips from early takes that were not used in the final game. They re-recorded all his lines 3 times? That's pretty intense. Like, okay, you've done everything for the whole game. You did great work. Can you do it again? And then again. Freedom ending. This is the first incarnation of the freedom ending in the game's alpha. Countdown desk. Freedom ending. Monitor room elevator. Countdown room. Yeah, I hadn't seen the countdown room the last time I was here. The game is now paused. Zending. I don't know what the Zending is. Looks like Portal. I don't know what that one is. Zending levers. Trailers. And a fourth of the bucket. Yeah.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the...
Epilogue? A new arrival. Many years later. An office chair, campfire. Office chairs in a sandstorm. Did you go outside of the place at some point? Yeah. There was the skip ahead button ending that was outside.
No one will ever
And there was the, like, follow the story to completion ending where you go outside. Is that the memories room? It's like a generator outside. Oh, I like that little slide. Cookie Nine's blog. Uncompromising gaming content. Review. The Stanley Parable 2. Like so many, I enjoyed my time with the original Stanley Parable, which underscores how truly disappointed I am with its sequel. Where the first game teamed with originality, the Stanley Parable 2 is dull, uninspired, and often insulting to its fan base. Rather than expand on what made the first game enjoyable, the sequel veers off into this territory nobody asked for. An infinitely deep hole? Who cares? Where are the new endings? What about enjoyable bits from the Stanley Parable 1, like the adventure line? Instead, we get an uninspired side quest collecting figurines. Even this diversion feels incomplete. Collecting all the figurines gives you nothing. I must say, though, I found the bucket to be quite comforting. A welcome reprieve from... unknown. Cat dog born. Scientists confirm hybrid species. Which one has to poop? That's horrible. The gym button.
Jim, 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 Jim.
Stanley Parable developers, no more spin-offs, no more sequels. When the Stanley Parable launched to a massive success in 2013, its creators made plans to build the property into an entire franchise. But a disastrous critical and commercial reception to Stanley Parable 2 has prompted the developers to rethink their ambitions as outlined in a press release they published today. It's clear that more Stanley Parable is just not what the fans want. We thought that we had a vision for the series that players would be excited about, yet it turns out this could not have been further from the truth. The press release goes on to promise to preserve the artistic integrity of the original game and to stop assaulting fans with our reckless and insulting creative visions. The word sorry appears more than 25 times in the press release. Lowest aggregate review scores in video game history. Second. I don't know what the rest of that says.
Jim, Jim. Jim, Jim. Jim, Stanley. Jim, Stanley. Stanley. Jim, Stanley.
I would have been so freaked out if that one went Michael. Or Edward. I'd be like, ah! It's the infinitely deep hole, except it's sideways. Thank you for enjoying the new content. Oh wait, I didn't check out that other side hallway yet. What are you doing? No. Hello again. Oh, it's the guy asking about the clock. It's nice to see you. But it's terrible to learn that there will never be another Stanley Parable game. Did you read what the developers said? Preserve the integrity of the franchise. What nonsense. The Stanley Parable is not sacred. We do not need to protect it. Screw the legacy. Let's keep making Stanley Parable games until the sun explodes. Let's run this franchise into the ground. Let's drag it through the mud and back. And if people hate it, who cares? You see, that was the narrator's problem. He was so obsessed with what people thought of his work. Don't make his mistake. Don't cling to the legacy. Let it burn. Did Fluker write this? It's not hard. In fact, let me show you. Clip it! Together, we're going to make Stanley Parable 3. Activision Blizzard, is that you? It's simple. We do all we do is change the number in the game's title screen. We also really need a really dumb subtitle for the game, something loud and gaudy. Go ahead, try combining random words together to make a new title for our game. The Stanley Parable 3. No more bomb. The Stanley Parable 3 No More Bomb. It's absurd. I love it. Every time you restart the game, we'll advance the number of the sequel by 1, and then we'll pick a new subtitle. That way, the Stanley Parable will never end. And nothing in the game itself will change when you do this either. Adding more content sounds like work. No need to do that. It'll just be the same content, recycled again and again and again, with a new title screen. What do you say? Should we go forward with this plan? I like it, but I want you to have a say as well. No. I understand. Sometimes we're not ready to move on. That's fine. If you ever change your mind and want to start inventing new sequels, come talk to me. I'll be right here. Is that it? Is that it, chat? Did I miss anything major? It's so easy for things to be like hidden in here. I don't know if I missed anything. Should have said yes. I can't wait for Stanley Parable 4's Zone of Babies. Should have said yes, there's a bit of new stuff after. God dang it. Meh. How quickly can I get back to that spot? If I don't stop to read the posters again, I think it'd be pretty fast. Oh wait, it's gonna do all the music and stuff again. Never mind. Never mind. You didn't go back to the broom closet after being player 2? That's fine. Alright. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. There's like a few little things tucked away that require a little bit of a time investment, but I think that's pretty much it. Okay, I can finally say that I have played the Stanley Parable. Let's see. Review time. Very interesting game. It's very unique. There's really nothing else like it. I see why, you know, it became kind of like a well-known thing. That said, you know, a lot of your time is you know, spent running back through the stuff you've already done. I didn't have the greatest love for that. I think I might not be a multiple ending game type of gamer. I definitely don't feel like this was worth $30. I spent $30 on this. It was fun, but because of how much of the game you were just like replaying the same rooms over and over and over and over and over, it didn't feel worth. Plus the fact that in total, I've gotten, I don't know, hang on a sec. Let me exit to desktop so Steam updates here. How much playtime do we have? 4.7 hours. We've cleared almost everything in it and the expansion in 4.7 hours. So, yeah. Feel kind of like I spent way too much money on this, but it was fun. I don't know that. Yeah, I've said my piece. But with that, yeah, that was the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.